Okay, I have a feeling that based on 1 and 2, you guys will be able to do 3 and 4 on your own. You can do this. I'm going to go ahead and do an example of number 5 and 6 where we have actual measures in there. So we are given that triangle BCM is congruent to triangle ZYR. Find each missing measure. So if these triangles are congruent, then I'm going to go ahead and put congruency symbols into these two triangles. All right, so B has to be congruent to Z. So I'm going to go ahead and create a symbol that tells you that. So B congruent to Z. So that means the measure of these two angles are exactly the same. So I'm going to go ahead and put that this angle is also 45 degrees. The measure of angle C must be congruent to the measure of angle Y. So C is congruent to Y. Well, that means that the measure of angle Y is also 103 degrees. Measure of angle M is congruent to measure of angle R. So let's go ahead and write those congruency symbols. But we don't know the measure of angle M and R. So what we can do is take our previous knowledge about the triangle sum theorem and find the measure of angle M or the measure of angle R. Either way, they are congruent to each other. So since I know that the other two angles are 45 and 103, I'm going to take 180, right, using our triangle sum theorem, and subtract the sum of the other two angles. Okay, and I get that the measure of that angle is 32 degrees. Okay, so the measure of angle M is 32 degrees, and that means the measure of angle R will also be 32 degrees. So now I'm going to go ahead and write in the congruency symbols for the sides, right? So RY, let's look at our congruency statement here. RY has got to be congruent to MB. RY, excuse me, I'm going backwards. RY has got to be congruent to MC, excuse me. Okay. RY, MC. So that means that this side is also 11 meters. Something else that is known is RZ. So I'm going back to my congruency statement. RZ has got to be congruent to MB. MB is this side. So this will also be 15 meters. Then I also know BC. So BC, if BC is congruent to ZY, then ZY, this side right here, also has to be 8 meters. Okay, so what I've done is go ahead and make conclusions based on our congruency statement about the sides and angles of both of these triangles. And as you can see, I marked them up, okay? Visually mark each one up so that you can see what each measure and what each angle is. And then go ahead and fill in what you need to know. So CM is 11 meters. BM is here, is 15 meters. YZ here is 8 meters. Measure of angle B is 45. Measure of angle Y is 103 degrees. And that is how that is done. Make sure you label everything, ladies and gents.